Oops, wrong one. Sorry, wrong one. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Sorry for the late night. I was just trying to get some stuff organized before I went live. Yes, I know. Now I was trying to get the stuff organized for the oh man, the last night's thing. Still too short, dude. I need to put my glasses on. I can't see. Hope you're doing really, really well. I still don't have a bot yet. I'm still trying to work out how to fucking get it working. And I've been basically living and breathing demos and work at the moment. So I go to bed, I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I stream demos, I go to sleep, I wake up, I go to work. It's basically all I've been doing for the last few days, so I haven't had a chance to fix my stream bot yet. So yeah. I would prefer to mention one that I know somebody was mentioning the other day. Randel's Quest. Randel's Quest and more. That'll do. Oh, this one's only like 2 things. It's like tiny, a little bit shorter. Beautiful. The girls are listening to music, and I know. Go. Done. That'll do. Whatever. Don't care. Don't care. Okay. I have 38 drafts. I have plus 99 messages. 37. What does that say? Response rate is really shit. Dude. I have to look through my stuff on Twitter, but I haven't had time yet. Maybe we'll have a look at it today. All right. So, what I was doing when you guys arrived is I'm looking at fixing up my stuff with last night's stream. So as you can see, I've got this here. And I'm just looking up the game so I can yes. Yes.
Look at my outfit.
Wow.
I'm gonna put my bangs up, but the hair's still gonna be up.
What did she say? What did she say?
I said wow.
What the hell?
She doesn't like your style. She loves mine.
This isn't like my style.
Well, no, I mean,
I said she's gonna say I wouldn't personally wear that, but that's just.
I wouldn't.
Okay, there we go.
Because
where does she get the compliment and not the follow up? I always get the follow up.
only thing that I would be worried about is the.
Oh yeah, this and like the boss area. That's why I'm wearing a bra underneath, so like, it's not gonna show anything.
I like this bit.
Yeah.
But I don't like this bit.
Yeah. What bit did she like?
The bit at the top here.
Like this.
I like this bit here.
Yeah.
But I don't like this
I'm
bit.
gonna wear black.
I feel like it would be more classy
Do you like my makeup?
if she had it covered like that. Yes?
Do you like my makeup?
Yes. it would look nicer. But I would never wear anything you girls wear. I wear jeans and a t-shirt. Pumpkins on my bed.
I get thoroughly reminded of that.
Hey Thor! Sorry, my girls are showing me their food. Sorry, their outfits. And they're annoyed because my eldest is annoyed because I don't wear her style. Jamie Rowan. Food, not food. Maybe I'm just thinking of food. I'm just trying to fix up last night's shit. Oh, fuck off. I can never find the infection. It's madness. All right, let's look up Dr. Decker. Will that show it? Yeah. So what I'm hoping to do before we start is fix this up. Now let's see if I can find it. Dr. Decker. I'm pretty sure I wishlisted it. There it is there. Am I spelling it wrong? That says the same thing, right? Yeah, it's exactly the same. How have you been, Thor? And the link. The day I became a bird. What have you been up to? Now I feel obligated to say something nice about my eldest daughters. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like I should feel uncomfortable for my opinion. Same old, same old. Yeah. We've hit assessments for a lot of the teachers at the moment. Luckily, I don't have to. All right. Done. Save. Adventure demo night is done. Oh, I haven't done the numbers. I'm going to do that later. I haven't done the times for it, but I'll do that later.
My turn.
But you're going to make me feel awkward if I don't like it. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
I like the top.
It's a dress.
Oh. I was going to say that the skirt's really short.
Is my butt showing?
Not when you stand like that.
I ain't gonna be twerking or anything, so that's no good.
And I feel like the boots and the fishnets go with, well, if you can call them fishnets, go with the outfit, and I think the outfit goes well together.
Thank you.
I feel more comfortable about the front of it than I do with Anna's.
Yes!
But
I win!
The skirt, both of you, your skirts are too short. Actually, I think Anna's is a bit longer than yours.
Yeah. And it's putting back shorts on as well. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep it hair.
Oh, my daughter. Can I have my light back out now? Insert probably, yeah. It looks nice. Flood at work, drinking. Oh, no. Oh, no. So I'm looking for... See, this is the message I can put, right? 104 messages. And I'm trying to get through each one and look at each game, but thaw through through the water. Brand. What else have I? Cursed, but I think this is where I was up to. Throws relevant meme at the Discord. Oh, I didn't see. In shit posts. Me, you're going to be introduced to some comfortable ideas here and take sensitive information. Okay, first up, chainmail leggings. Are they just heavy duty fishnets for the boys? Pretty much. Alright, okay. So, first thing we always do every night is go into Steam Next Fist and look at my discovery queue. It's terrible, shouldn't do it, but I do. And now I'm going to put my headphones on because the girls' noise is annoying me. If I move but I'm not talking, that's because my girls are too loud. I don't like space, so I'm going to skip that one. Already played that one. Don't want to look at that one. The fuck is that? Drive your castle on wheels. And what? Not my type of game. Oh, I know, right? I think, does it tell you? You know. Don't like space. Already downloaded that to play. Already downloaded that to play. No. Alright, let's look at this one. What was that movie where they turned cities into mobile attack forge? I don't know. Well, this looks interesting. Is this a survival game, maybe? Like a open world survivor? Alright, I'm gonna put this one on my wish list, on my install. Every time I go through a game, I add another one to it. No. No. And I'm done. I don't want to look at more. So in my wish list, I've got 92. So far on Steam Next Fest, we have wish listed oh my god, I went to the bottom and it wasn't far enough. Planet of Lana 2, The Day I Became a Bird, The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker 2, Mystery Phantoms, because that's one of those click adventure ones and I like it. A new zone and 2 new bosses. Nice. Is 66 high? Well, I know it's high, but like, is that, what's the limit? Got Concierge, Looking Up, Danger, Down the Aisle, Swan Song, Iona, and We Gotta Go. This one is also in the, what do you call it? The thing to play as well, but I haven't played it yet this time. They said they did an update. But they have like all these games that I haven't got on there yet. So I need to have a look at them to see if they're anything worth playing. So this is Cursed Blood, a brutal 1x4 co-op melee roguelike. Oh, sorry, let's watch it. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's kind of like you can play with others. Balance. Oh, they look cute. Wait, what? Build a cozy forest farm while thriving in life. Focus Grove is a mindful game that improves your focus. Let your woodlings grow. You farm while you grow in life.
Hi, I'm Bernie. I'm the first of your grovelings.
Oh, I'm
We're
definitely
creatures who
downloading
help
this.
you work and study.
Yes, please.
While growing your farm, we help you stay focused and productive.
I'm already doing it. There we go. Another person. Bulk is an incremental card game. Okay, let's have a look. Is there a limit? Don't know. I know in one game I was playing there was like a limit of like 600 and something. I'm sorry, huh? I don't understand the concept. Oh, it's like a card shop. Hey, if there's space on the list, feel free to give it a try. Nostalgic 2.5 stick man game. Hey, made this game in which you can sit. If you're into Metro and JP, try this one. Hey, made this in shop and try and have fun. Arrow Man. I'm pretty sure I've got that somewhere on my list. Sorry, the kids are singing. This one here. Whenever I tried to look at it, it wouldn't let me look at it. Look, it doesn't have a download link. Did you see the goose game that Cooper and I were in? It's two geese, and you got to kind of move an egg across shit. We were so chaotic. It was hilarious. Also, if you go back a couple of nights, Thor, you would have really enjoyed watching We Gotta Go. So you play as a character, and as you move around, your gas fills up and you poop your pants, and then you can turn into poop if you poop your pants while you got no pants on, and you got to make your way through a haunted house without pooping, and got to make your way to the toilet. It was great. It was great. No, I'm not in a game at the moment. I'm just doing a tweet. This is the game. We were playing a game. I'll show you. Pretty sure if you I can get if it goes in my YouTube, because she posted it as both of us, and she said it would go through on mine as well. Have I done the post for it yet? I'm pretty sure I have, or have I not done it yet? I don't think it's come through yet for me. But, oh no, there it is. Copy link. No. Copy text. I guess. This one. This one. 2 geese, 1 fragile egg, total chaos. What could possibly go wrong? Hi, I'm Midnight Victoria, and if you like hilarious co-op games, clumsy physics, and chaos that makes you laugh until you cry, hit like or follow for more. This game is all about teamwork, clumsiness, and saving a fragile egg through unpredictable physics challenges. Every crack changes the game, making the egg harder to control and funnier to try and save. You can play solo, local co-op, or online, and the demo already feels full and chaotic. I had an absolute blast playing with my friend Cooper and Mist. We laughed, we screamed, and somehow we still didn't make it to the end in an hour. The egg's wobble system gives you leeway, but every slip is hilarious, especially when your partner panics or accidentally tries to sabotage you. It's messy, it's tricky, but so much fun, and perfect for streaming with friends or with your community. The demo is out now, and the full release promises 4-player co-op. Go and check it. So this is Cooper's. We might put it over here while I continue to find games. Come on! Wait till the laughter level gets to 100%. Dude! Whoo! No worries, no worries.
Before we jump into the game, I just quickly want to shout out the Indie Brew team. The Indie Brew is doing something really cool this year. Technically, they started this in November 2025, but they're putting together a demo disc filled with indie games from a huge range of developers and genres. Think bite-size, full demos, cozy, chaotic, horror. Honestly, it's a little bit of everything. It's such a great way to discover indie games you might not normally have stumbled across and to support the developers behind them. If that sounds like your vibe, in the description below, I've put a link where you can check out Indie Brew themselves and subscribe to their newsletter to get access to the demo disc yourself. This series is my way of supporting what they're doing. One demo a month, no pressure, just vibes, indie chaos. January's pick is an extremely hard game, and I like what they've done there. Puns are my way to go.
Ooh.
Except, unfortunately, this requires coordination, and we all know I don't have that. And neither does the person I asked to play it with me. Poor Midnight Victoria. This is a co-op demo where two geese have to work together.
Oh wait,
to
I have
carry
shut
an
a
egg
story.
through increasingly chaotic and difficult acrobatic obstacles, and it does require a bit of coordination or patience or both. And unfortunately, I'm shit out of all of them. This is going to test your friendship. But the demo only runs for about 30 to 60 minutes. Again, testing your friendship. The longer it is, maybe not so strong the friendship.
Why do I look so angry?
Because you're working with me. I look shocked because I'm like, you chose this person. Do you know how uncoordinated both of you are? Shut up. You're angry because you're like, could I have not done this with someone else?
I'm sitting there and I'm thinking of Borderlands when we were like driving along. And
that's what I keep coming back to.
Oh, cozy paintings.
Okay, left and right is AD and WS.
Oh, I've played that game.
Well,
no, I
you're
didn't.
leading right now. Now I'm leading.
No, I didn't. I played a different one.
This is the first level, so we're going to get to somewhere. Ah, my neck!
Wait for me!
Ah! Okay, where are we going? I don't know. Just follow the path. Follow the path. There's no map. Oh, we're trying to get an egg. Oh, okay. Careful. This is where eggs can be broken. All right. Are you going to go first?
I'd like to. I'd like to play it more often, but I don't really have as, time-wise, I don't have the time to do it. I did a long time ago. I did a long time ago, do a...
Careful.
A game with another group of ladies, but then the person who was making it was unable to continue.
And then I'm gonna lift you up. Can we jump? Oh! Okay, jump together. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, jump.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we made it to the first one. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. We're doing good. This is fine.
Every time you say something.
Okay, so then this is...
you've got to be fucking kidding me.
We can do this. This is the one in the actual the thing. We've got this. We've got this. Okay. Oh. Where are you going? Where are you going? Catch it! Sorry, I gotta stop screaming.
Oh.
No! I'm all over this bird.
My head! It boxed me on the head. Zoo.
Where you go? turn your thing around with your mouse. No! Oh, okay, we're going. All right, we're going up. Oh no!
Oh, do I have to look up this game? Lex spell. Maybe it's a matter of we've got to be quick.
Wait. Come over here. Let's use this. Go up on the bin and see if we can go across that way. Yeah? Long neck.
I'm trying to get long neck. Can you go back any further?
No, we did so well.
All right, stretch your long neck out.
You're not up. I think that's part of the problem. You're going to get up. All right, now.
All right.
Hang on, one sec. I need. Go no! No! You're so close! No! Yes! It counted! Yes! Okay, and then ready? I'm going to spin you around to the one on my left side. Ready? Go. Oh, no, I changed my mind. Okay, now you're going to spin me. Yep. Go down. I'm not going to turn. You're going to do all the turning.
Ham.
You got up though.
Oh no! You get the idea. But if we keep going up, I'm sure there'll be a bit where the laughter level is reached, where she cannot breathe anymore. Oh yeah, here. Go.
I'm there. Ready? I'm gonna wait. Look at all these eggs.
See how sucky we were at it? It was great.
I think swinging all the way around is the best way to go.
All right, go. All right, okay. I'm gonna get rid of that for the moment because we need to start a game because we've been on for an hour and we haven't even started a fucking game. So let's start a game. The first game I've got listed on here is Bylina. That's pretty much there was a part of it where neither of us could breathe and laugh. We were laughing so hard. So this is the first one. This is Bylina. Let me just, oh, it's a controller game. Let me go to the store page for a second and have a look at the demo. This is Bylina. So the idea of this is that, we get the idea. I remember what it's about now. The idea is that you got 30 minutes to get me to wishlist the game. Can't do it in 30 minutes. No wishlisting it. All right. I'm going to check everything in it first to make sure it's like not going to lag the shit out of me. Get my thing up. All right. Fully enjoy Bylina. We strongly recommend using gamepad. Okay. Well, should we see how it goes? At the moment, I'm sitting on 30 FPS on a stream on this, and I'm sitting at 89 on this. Apply. And turn the volume of the music down just because this is a pretty cool what do you call it? Picture for the opening like menu. All right, 30 minutes. Let's set our timer and go. Ooh, what should I be? Do those enjoy the story and the whole and the world and prevail? Let's come up with those want balance the story and combat. For those enjoy a challenge. What do you reckon I should do? I mean, I'd like to know the story, but I'd like to know exactly what the game is like. So I feel like going with the balance of story and combat is going to give what the game is actually going to be like. Like, if I like it, then I can put it like that if I'm going to buy it. But I feel like it needs to be, the demo needs to be played in, like, the way that the game is intended. Does that make sense? If you have any lags, please let me know. Can you hear this? I can't hear anything. Two twin brothers wandered. Bird-faced people. Okay. I know, so do I, but I feel like if I'm actually going to try the demo for what it is, I should play it. Like, if I play the game for what's intended, I should play it as normal. If I was to play it... Is this not...
And there it stood in all its glory. The thrice nine kingdom.
A gripping yarn, Papa Vasily. My soul is stirred. If you just permit me to slip into yonder bushes for a feat of watering the damp Mother Earth...
Well, make haste to follow, then.
That's an interesting way to say I need to take a piss. Where do I go to piss? Up here? Oh, I go here to piss. Relieve yourself. Oh my lord. It's actually showing it. That was great.
wretched brigands. Ribbit.
What happened to you, my Batrachian friend?
Were you robbed?
Why wring your webbed hands
Evil
in such
fiends,
sorrow?
wretched bushwhackers, Ribbit. Everything I curated, everything I invested in, all lost to those thieving predators. My life is over.
That's a valid point, actually.
Innocent tadpole shall rot in the gutters of insolvency. My lovely wife, my toad princess.
Hist, Kestrel, look to yonder grove. Does not...
I'll be right back, Papa.
Yield not to despair, my good toad. Wail not. Waste not your tears soaking your fine cloak.
It's Wednesday, my friend. How could such thing...
The Britons know not the price of antique treasures. They didn't take what looked like old rubbish to them.
My mother loved you.
Bye bye, don't be dumb. What am I supposed to be doing exactly? I wish you would jump normally.
Good merchant, is this your treasure?
Treasure? These are but meager fragments.
In truth, a flagon fit for a boga.
Huh?
The draught shall grant you a wondrous might.
Drink then, my...
The deed is pressing, the hour will not tarry. Fly, Kestrel, like the falcon you are. Fly forth and track down that thieving rabble. I shall bide here with the poor merchant, and soon shall we meet each other again upon the far side of the deep dark.
So I have to drink the thing that he gave me? Do I keep going this way? Okay.
Come on, get him, boys!
Wow, we sliced them up good.
There's no way through here. I should turn northwest.
Can I run fast? Oh, there we go. Wait, what's that? Oh, no, you won't. Bye-bye, son. Don't be dumb. Well, okay. So, last time my daughters went out, my eldest left, my youngest, and my youngest had to work out for an Uber and all this kind of shit. My eldest likes to chat and get to know people and
Must
stuff.
be a present for his wife.
Do I take it? And so the reason why I said don't be dumb is so she doesn't wander off and shit.
Hey, plan to kill it. Everyone, how are you? I see you're ready for it, but don't forget, small vitality will heal you if you're wounded.
Apparently if I stand close enough you'll get into a jig. C's jig. Like, how close do I have to be to jig? How close do I have to be to a jig?
kill Archer first.
Have you heard of the tale of how the bogatyr 𝗕𝗨𝗦𝗡𝗕𝗦 found himself a wife?
Saved, I bet. From some monster?
So one day he saw a mighty warrior on a strong horse and challenged him to a duel.
Okay.
Get him, boys!
Surround him from all sides! Smash him! Surround him from all sides!
Oh, I see you.
Finish off the scum!
Get him, boys!
I have junk? Where did I get junk?
Hey, why are you
Captured by evil. You?
not me, my Kuzya?
What use is he to them?
They carried him all the way up.
Wait here.
Nice. Carried him all the way up where? I'm guessing up here? Cooked by the fire.
He's already worn out. Surrender while your head's still attached. Smash him! Stab him!
Catch the arrow.
Surround him from all sides! He's already worn out.
Oh shit! Big boss dude! Ah! They just surrounded me and I didn't do anything. Can I use a potion? Yes. Dude. Got him! Examine whose body? Aww. Poor dude, he dead. Poor old fella. Let's see if we can find some loot first. This one. Kind of gives me a little bit of like a hell? The bees are fucking hitting me. Go away. Like a indie version of Diablo with like the fighting of monsters and shit, the fighting style, which is pretty impressive if you think about it, like considering. Oh my god, that tree has eyes. Okay. Oh, he gave it a hug. Don't ask me why, but okay. Sorry, merchant, your friend is dead.
I handled... Oh, why would they harm a small and innocent... Go down to the... Thank you, Bucketeer. Want my advice? How about a trade?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Examine what strange zone? Oh, this way. I'm sorry, what now? Oh my god, he did just shoot himself in the head! I don't like when they put the runners to press down on the button one. It's annoying. Who are you?
Thank you. Please. What are you thanking me for? For saving me from this life. And the prospect. So, you want to start and spare me and I'll tell you everything.
It annoys me when you have like to press down on the button to make yourself run. I'd rather have like a... Can I change the... understand that. Okay. Cool. Okie dokie. What's this? How do I use the stomp ability? How do I use the stomp ability again? Oh, that's right. No. Oh! I see. Right! I get it now. I get it. Anything down here I can take? No. What did that do? Exactly. Am I supposed to have a look in there? No. It does nothing. Alright, let's go. Oh wait, let's check there's no loot down here. No, that's just those things that were poking their tongues out. Is this a chest too? Oh, alright, let's go. Hello? Oh, hi.
You take everything. Check again.
Well, I think so.
I don't like this cave. My brother goes there. Never come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, wet, dark. I like.
I don't even have arrows. I'll take them anyway. I haven't been using my arrows. Okay. Okay, okay, so I have to hit 3 targets to get in there, do I? Dude! Okay. There's another arrow there. I don't want to open this. I'm enjoying this game. Would I buy it? Maybe not, but it's the 3rd target. Down this way, I think. Crazy looking weird dudes. Lots of these stones everywhere. Is that another weapon? No, it's just a box. Got it. Dude, that is one weird creature. Okay, continue on your way. Hang on, I must see if there's any loot. Stop. I hate when they do the wrong like that. Yeah.
Exit close. You sure you're done?
Yes. I think so. Cooked by the fire. This is a pretty area. Yeah, I can't make anything. Didn't get to see him dance a jig, but you know. Alright. There's a boss up ahead. Potion, dumbass. No, I want to be on the hands, damn it. No, I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die! Oh, that was so lucky! Die, Granny! Die, Granny! Smite! Ooh, just in time at 3 minutes. Smite that Granny! Smite that Granny. Alright, to eat. Smite you, Granny. Alright, we're just about finished with this game. I've got to try a boss. I've got to try, you know, the main things with it all. I feel like we're... control mechanisms around the world.
You made it. Bet you saw my brother, didn't you? To get out, listen carefully. Don't rush. Watch yourself. Be careful.
Why did you drink the red blood? Oh dear. Oh, I have to copy it. Where's the pot blocking her? Grandma knew. I'm the fast liquid. Right? Wayfarer's hut. Hello? Oh, it's another tree eye place. And then we give it a hug. Give him another hug. Oh, we get to give tree all the hugs. Yes, they were. It's very interesting to say the least. Can I cut my friend down? Hi. Hi.
Oh, thank Thank you.
I'm not a bogatyr, really.
Be that as it may.
Aww. Where's my... What the fuck? Sorry, my daughter just sent me a message. Well, it's what's it called? Bylina. It's interesting. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I buy it, but I am enjoying it. Obviously, because I'm not into this type of genre of games, but I am enjoying this. What am I supposed to return? A toad with something stuff.
Oh, what happened to you?
The evil brigand.
Well, you're free now, 𝗕𝗤𝗤. Farewell, 𝗕𝗤𝗤. Farewell, 𝗕𝗤𝗤.
Blue feathers. Alright. So yeah, it's tonight's RPG, so it is gonna get a bit weird. Just run, dude.
Accept my gratitude, brave warriors. You helped
Oh my god, it's a frog dressed in a weird dress.
Service scattered in fear.
Ah, how's a trifle for a true bogatyr? Even Kestrel could do it.
Oh shit, I just threw it. Whoops. My escape button just went flying. I'm assuming that's the end of the demo.
Merciful God, as breath after breath departs,
A lag.
receive me, O Lord. Show me the path. Fortify my spirit in truth and in yearning. Into your hands I lay my soul. Merciful God. Merciful God.
Jesus Christ, what a thing to come up to look at.
Save me.
Right? Oh, different game. No, I don't want to do chapter 1. My 30 minutes is up. What I do want to do is get another drink of water and turn the lights out. Okie dokie. Stop.
Open wide.
Understood. I shall not fail you.
How do I get out to the menu? Hi, sorry.
Light be your road.
Haha. Sora, you pressed a button. Oh no, I did. No, you didn't. Sorry. No, you didn't. It was the game. As I quit, a survey came up and I thought Zora broke the game. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna get a quick drink of water. I'll be right back. Ow, that hurt. Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. Every light on. I'll get into trouble. Come on. Come on. Come on. All three of you. Come on. Ah. Okay. All right. 2, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3. 8. Come here. Come here. Sorry, come here. Sorry, come here. Come on. Sorry, up. Come on. You come up. Brandon, come on. You coming up or not? Come on. You gotta come up. You don't want to stand there because being eating makes you vulnerable, doesn't it? That's it. You're all done. Brandon, come here. Get out of it, shithead. Brandon, come here. Come on. Come here. You gotta come here. Brandon, come here. Come here. Come here, Ronan. Pumpkin. Pumpkin. Pumpkin, come here. Pumpkin, come here. Pumpkin. Come here. Ronan's run off. Zora's trying to eat everybody's food. Piss off, shithead. It's not for you. You already had yours. Pumpkin, come here. Come here. Come on, up. Up. Come on, up. Come here. Up you come. Hey, look here. Here. No, here. In the middle of it. That's it. Good boy. Good boy. All done. Hop down. Now it's Ronan's turn. Hop down. Now it's Ronan's turn. Come on, Ronan. You gotta come here. Come here, Ronan. 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 If you want it, you gotta come here. Hey, that's my fingers, Ronan, come here. Stop training my finger, you dumb cat. Alright, choose my language. English. Did you complete the current demo? I completed most of it. I used the gamepad. It was fairly good. Yeah, I probably would. Probably not as much. Maybe $20. Very clear. Just the right amount. Okay. Good. No. Pressing the button down on the movement stick to run. Diablo. What was the best part of the demo, do you reckon? Ryan, come here. Ryan! Fine, I'm giving it to Zoro. What do you reckon the best part of this demo was? Felt the fighting was very smooth and intuitive. Is that how you spell intuitive? Intuitive. There we go. All right. Yeah, I did say it was like Diablo. All right. Next one. That's game number 1 down. Hold on. I'm going to make the details in here now. Otherwise, I'm going to need it later. By Far Games. And the link is that. Make it easier. All right, now let's go back. Are you into RPGs, Thor? Normally? Itchy boob. I'm so glad I don't have like a view on, because I'm like so itchy on my boob right now. And it's not the great. The bear. What is it? The Bear and the Last Flame. Where the fuck is that one? Is that another one I didn't download? The Bear and the Last Flame. Yeah, I didn't download it again. Yeah. I'm probably more of an adventure style person. Ronan, where are you? You gonna come here or not? Or am I gonna give your food to a big fat cat right here? Big fat cat right here. I'm gonna get my finger bit off. Big fat cat right here. Who's a big fat cat? We might go on to the next one while we wait for this one to download. Randel's Quest. Hey, fatty. Where's your brother? Ronan, you here? Oh shit, I didn't get them all. Where's the fourth one gone? Oh no, they're all there. Hi, fatty. Who's the king of the castle? Who's the king of the castle? You should have seen him, right? I bought myself a chicken to have like chicken avocado sandwich for dinner, right? The minute the chicken came out of the food, he was like, his nose was up, his eyes were looking everywhere. Dude, can you not? Dude, what the fuck did you do? Alright, what am I doing? Besides getting angry at the cat for getting in the road. Randall's Quest is what we want to do. Randall's Quest. This one looked fun. If I remember correctly. Wordle and roguelike stuff. Now you're just going to sit in front of me, hey? Wordle? Claws. Oh, you like that, do you? Or are you just trying to sniff in the hand for some bickies? All right. Can I put my headphones on and keep going, sorry? You scratched my boob. Boobs are having all the bloody fun today. Oh, this is a quirky sound. I'm going to put this to the side because I don't want this right now. Alright, let's go. Oh, so it's kind of like the game where they had, like, not the lamb, the one where they kind of go up through each one. Let's go. This one first. Alright, gotta guess a 5-letter word, but wait, at the start of this, each turn spin a reel, hint machine, 1 reel per colour. Green letter, right spot, yellow, okay. Okay. Roll the reels. What reels? Heal, damage you. Guess the word. Damn. T at the end. Damn it. Oh, really? Can you pop that link in games in the Discord? I'd love to have a look at that. I love Bioshock. It ends in T. Watch this. I'll have a look at it in a second. Help me with this game. What can I have it as? I've got W. Yeah. I'll have a look at it after this game. Oh, I need to put 30 minutes on. L. Alright. Alright, so we've got an I and an L in it. The L doesn't go at the beginning. Oh, what? Something I something LT. Ooh, I got another word, but I died. Built! Really? Dude, I sucked. Oh, I suck so bad. Alright, okay, let's try again. Alright. Alright, we have a B and an L. Alright. C. L. Something, something B. That must mean that the L is in the middle or at the end. The L is going to be here or here. 𝗕𝗨𝗦𝗦. Alright, let's go. Hey, American! Just got it then. What is a 𝗕𝗨𝗦? Alright. I need a word that's going to give me a lot of letters the first time in. Thank you so much for the follow, American. And the other one, party. I think I do my front. Oh, okay. And the other one I usually do is this, and it gives me most of the letters. Yeah, it gave me nothing. But an S and an R. It starts with S, and there's an R in there somewhere. Hi, welcome on in. Diablo 3. You would have liked the last game we played. We just played a game called Bylina, which had a lot of the gameplay similar to Diablo. It was nice. It was good fun. It starts with S. Alright, we got an O. And there's an N and an R. S. O. Ooh, we're one letter off. That's a good one, shown. No. But I got all the heals for that one. Sean. Alright, let's go. No, there's no H in it. I totally forgot. Word, guest. Oh dear, 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 oh dear. Oh, okay. Scorn. We're gonna go to this one because I don't want to go to the boss. Guess the word. Want to hack something today? Sure. Alright. I need another word that's going to bring a lot of letters in. Alright, we're going to O and a D. Alright. That's not where the O goes, but it is where the D goes. It's either ID or ED or ED. Now what do we do? No. Okay, where would we go? We got... So can I hack something? Oh.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Shut up, Siri. Oh, he does a hack to our machine. Ah, I see. All right. Oh shit. Oh fuck, that fucked me up big time. Alright, we have about 18 minutes. We can do another run. Yeah. Alright, okay. Okay, so we need to think strategy, right? We're just trying to guess the word. Realistically, if we get it right, I'm going to get damage. If we don't get it right, or we get it in the right, not in the right spot, we're going to end up getting a heal. That's right. So we need to start thinking strategically. So if we went like... I got a heals. And we got a W, an O, and an E in it. So we don't want to get it green, we want to get it orange, right? If we went, can we do slaw again? No. Oh shit. Alright, now we want to get it grey or green. Yes, we won, and we're women. So the trick is, we gotta strategize. It's not just about getting the letters right. Alright, hi, I wanna buy something? Yes, I do. Alright, let's think of some words. Okay. Yeah! What's another 3-letter word we can use? I'm sorry, a 5-letter word we can use. Oh, now I get to shop. Okay. Well... Yes. We got 10 grey. Damage yellow. Do 3 damage to the enemy if in excess has at least 3 yellow hints. Here a maximum of 4 HP. We might go with this one. We can get both of them actually. And we can get, what's this? Do 3 damage. Here a maximum of 4 HP. Maybe go this one because we seem to suck at healing. Yes. Yes, I do. Slotto's workshop, because we want him to upgrade our thing. Alright. We do. Grey, 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 grey. Orange, grey. still buy though? Not really. Alright, next one. Okay, we want to get it right. To heal or orange to damage. We don't want to get it grey. Alright, okay. Where's my hack? What's that? Why didn't that work? So we got an N and an L in it. C. We've got to get an orange. Oh man, we fucked. Climb? No. Oh, maybe. Oh no, it's got an N in it. Clean? Hang on, let me move this up. Clean. It's not clean because we don't have an A in it. Clean. Let's try clean. Oh, I got healed. And I got the word right. Woo! Let's get more shield. Alright. Damage to me, damage to enemy. So we don't want to get it right. It's never this one. Alright, there's an A in it. We don't want to get it grey now. Can I like just re-roll? I'm not sure how that works, but anyway. Ow, 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 ow. I'm dead. Annex. That's really cool. I don't think we've got enough time for another run because we've got like 4 minutes left. What did you guys think of that one? I thought it was very interesting. I didn't mind it. Probably won't wish list it because I couldn't see myself playing it enough to pay for it. But I thought it was a really good game. Does that make sense? I thought it was a really cleverly made game. Who's it by? LCB Game Studio. I think it looked nice. It was really clever. Yeah, I think a hint might be good too. I agree. For those who aren't so great at Wordle. I love the word concept of it. I think that's great. I always love a word game type of game. And I liked the way, like, it took me a while to realize it, but I liked the way that it wasn't just about you having to get the word right. It was about you having to strategize, which made you think more than just about getting the word right. You had to think about whether or not you were going to damage yourself or not if with what you got. I didn't quite get the hacking part of it. I liked it, but I couldn't see how it worked. I couldn't work out how it worked. So I found it hard to do that bit. But I did like the way you had to kind of use the words and get a particular color to get certain things. That was really cool. I liked that aspect of the buying of stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I feel like maybe halfway through or something, there's like a sleep somewhere and get your health back, because I sucked at it and I could never get to the end, in my opinion. But it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to wishlist it just because I couldn't see myself playing it for an extended period of time. And I like to get my money's worth when I buy a game, if that makes sense. I feel like RPGs are not my strategy, like my type of game, but I wanted to share them with everybody else. So we've got to give them a shot. Just like horrors are not my games. But we're going to give them a shot on Sunday. There's a few that are really interesting, so I'm interested to see the story of them. But yeah, we'll see. Before we start this game, I wanted to have a look at this.
Every drop of blood you've spilled. Every secret you've hidden. Open your eyes, mi amor.
Use your own blood for...
Guide my path in this hour of darkness.
Oh, hang on.
As the shadows of the abyss close in. Let your sacred light banish them. And if I am to fall, let my flesh turn to ash. So
I mean, I would fucking die if I had to use my blood as a friggin' weapon. I would, like, so die. Oh, if it does have folklore in it, I do like folklore type games. I'll keep an eye on it. That's for sure. Oh man, I've already got 10 more tweets. 11. Dude. What now? Where are we up to? Oh, cool. Nice. I'll have to look at that. Wants me to make your passcode. I'll have a look at that later then. Let's get into this game. Why do I need to make a passcode for my messages? Oh, dude, I got so many messages I didn't even realize. Okay. Let's get this game started, shall we? Alright, so I don't use my mouse. Let's go. In the lands of Dragon Pearls, with sons of his metaphor. Sure, let's go this one. Oh. I'm guessing this is the only one. Oh god, player deaths is remembered. Many fell without redemption, yet some dead still cry for the light denied for them. Okay. Maybe they sent it in an email. I'm gonna do that one too. Taking forever to load. Oh, here we go. Anyone else getting a bit of a Dark Souls vibe here? How do I attack? I do use my swords and stuff. Okay. Okay, so the movement is not as intuitive as the other one was. Oh gosh. Stop it. Is there like a lock on button? Oh mate, I'm gonna have hundreds of deaths, man. This. Can I maybe do something about the mouse sensitivity? Wonder if I use the controller if it would be easier. Alright, controller is a little bit better. Oh. Can I attack you? What's that say? Locked on this side. Wait, locked on this side. Oh, locked on. Locked. Can I unlock it then? Okay, so the game is a lot smoother when you are using controller. Just a bit, also kind of laggy. What does that mean? Performance. The game is kind of laggy for me too. It's not just a you guys thing, the lag. Oh, I don't want ultra. Alright, stop pressing buttons, Vic. Oh my gosh. Now the lag is worse. Oh my gosh. No. How do I just hit normally? Oh, stop! I'm getting mad. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just frustrated at the moment because this is actually really laggy for me too, and it's frustrating. Don't walk, dumbass. Why are you walking? Oh my lord. Oh no, that was fine. Mate, I am glad we started with Bylina and not this one, because if this was the start, I would have been like, ah! Sorry, I love playing new games, I love playing indies, I love trying them out, but sometimes it can get really hard. Open the door. Yeah, baby, open the door. Open the door, open the door. What's the bigger? Hi. Can I run now? Where the fuck am I now? I have no fucking idea where I am. Oh, I know where I am now. Why am I still walking? Why are you not running? He got stuck in walk mode. Why am I still walking? It's not running, he just rolls. Run, dude, run! This has to be a game for more hardcore players because I find it hard to see past the painful way of playing. Stop walking! We're not going on an afternoon stroll here, you dumbass! We're trying to fight things! And your friggin' not running is making it really hard! It does nothing. Can I hit it? Thank you! We're rolling through the hills, cause we don't want to do anything else but roll anyway. Hello? Let's see. I've been this way. I did this bit. Now where do I go? Oh my god, I'm back here again! Back here. There's a door fucking there and there's no fucking way to get through the door. What the fuck? Where's the next door? Oh, that's great. Let's go. Down this way. No. Hey, do tell me what is the fucking aim of this game? god. I'm sorry. I can't. I want to give it the time it deserves, but this game is really painful play. For those who are not sure, I'm rolling because he won't fucking run. He was at first and now he's stopped. If I use this, will he run? No, he's in fucking walk mode. And this, I don't know what the fuck this does. I'm now over the looks, and now it's all about the fucking horrible walking. What the fuck is this shit over here? Besides a ghost. Oh, now I'm running. Why wasn't he running before? What's that? Woo! I'm gonna fucking die! Oh, it is 100% based on Dark Souls. Died scream. Fuck me. Why did he freeze it being... Turn around and attack him, you dumbass! Part of me wants me to fucking kill this dude just because he's a freaking idiot. Can't fight for shit! If a skeleton can beat you, there's something fucking wrong with you, mate. The controls are just not... They're not doing it any justice. And it is so slow between each move. L, B, R, B. sake, now where the fuck am I? Turn around! Thank you. I love these games. No, I am not pre-ordering that one. If you like that kind of game, give it a shot. For sure. Give it a go. RPGs are not my game. So if I need a game that I want to play, I need it to be smooth. I need it to be running at its best possible ability. Because otherwise I'm going to get frustrated with it because I don't follow those games as a general rule. Now I don't even know where the fuck it is. Alright, next one we've got is Second Saga. This one looks cute. Let's have a look at this review. This is the one. Oops, sorry. I just hit my mic. He's doing the run dash. That's how what I do too. Oh, I like the skill tree. That thing at the end, I want to get me one of those. Also, Fenrir, pretty cool. Larissa, hi, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in. How are you? Welcome in. I don't have the bot going at the moment, but if you haven't checked her out, please click on either the link up in the chat or the thing at the top. I'm good. I'm trying out RPGs tonight, so that's interesting. RPGs are not generally my style of game. I don't mind them, but they're all right. I'm just going to dismiss that ad because we've just got a raid. We're now going to try out a thing called Second Saga. I was just watching the demo video while you just came in. I'm not sure if anybody caught it. We've tried a pretty cool one called Bylina. If you like Diablo, it's got very similar gameplay to that. And it was really smooth. I really enjoyed it. It was strange, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense. Oh, Fishbowl. I have done a demo for Fishbowl last time, They had a demo out. Such a good game. It's already on my wish list. They've asked me, I want to have a look at it and see how much has changed. And they've told me they've added more to it, which is great. But yeah, we tried Bylina, which was really good. The Bear and the Last Flame. It's very much... I'm trying to think of a nice thing to say. It's aiming to be like Dark Souls. So yeah, we played Randel's Quest, which is really cool. So Randel's Quest is kind of like, you know those games where you've got like the little paths, kind of like Stream Raiders, where you start at one end and you make your way through with all the different battles and stuff. So Randel's Quest is kind of like that, but it's like Wordle. So you go in to play as Wordle, but you're also fighting. So it's not about like getting the word right, it's about picking the right things that you need, because you roll like these little spinner thingies and it comes up with either attack you, attack the enemy, or heal. And depending on what you spin depends on whether or not you want it to be green, you want it to be yellow, or you want it to be grey. So it took me a couple of runs to get that, but it was really good. I enjoyed that one. Not sure if I'll buy it because I couldn't see myself playing it regularly, but I would definitely recommend it if you like those type of things. All right, this is second Saga. Yes, please. Any lags, please let me know. I am trying to... Ooh. My name is going to be... Valeria. I'm going to have... my hawk. Cranky eyes. I need to have a green face. Oh, it doesn't have green. Ooh. Oh. Wish there was randomized. Oh, was there a dude that had like the handle style marshmallow? We go. Oh, stop going so fast. I wish we could change the color. Here we go. Green hair. I want green hair. No green? No. We're going to go red then. Ah! I love that. Oh, right. Press I. Ah. Ooh, Thomas is here again. Alright, okay. Lorenzo, who are you? Stop hitting me. Attack them! Oh, A. Got it. Jump, jump! Oh, I mean, if I'm going to do that, I need to put this as a quick slot too. It doesn't let you use the controller. Dan the Rookie Adventurer. Dashing is your bread and butter. Okay. So I should be able to do my stats, right? Oh, here we go, right over here. Alright, so let's go with that one. Alright. Alright, I think this order is going to be a bit better. Oh, he's a level 1 slime elite. Let's go, bitch. Can I not pick up that slime? Oh, shit. Yeah, I feel like it would be easier with the controller as well, I'm not gonna lie. Hi. Oh, look at the way he jumps back and he's like, oh, what? You hit me? He's like, don't hit me. It's cute. Don't hurt me. How do I pick up the coin? Shit. Dash. Oh, my health is so bad. Can I get some level back? Yeah, I just worked that out, Reggie. I know, right? And then the way they look like they shouldn't be, should not be not hurting them. can craft stuff. That's cool. Cool. Now, how do I get the stuff to craft and stuff? Hey, Sandy. Whoops, didn't mean to go back into Sandy's house. At least this is a little bit easier than the last one. I know. Can we pat the dog? Yes! Hey, Steve. Yes. Fuck you, Steve. Hey, Rod. Cool. God damn it, Dave. Fuck you, Dave. You gonna speak to me like that? Hi, Liza. Kevin, the town guard. Sure. Do you have a map? I feel weird that S is, you know, the, what do you call it? Jump button. Ooh. Whoa, look at the prices of this shit. Oh shit, what's attack again? A. Oh shit. Need to start dodging. No! Yeah, be dead. Oh, there's 2 levels. Let's go. I don't know how many goblins I have to kill. I don't feel quite so bad hitting the goblins. Oh no, now I've got 4. Ah! Did I like have really low health before? Is that why I died so quickly? I have set the timer, right? No. Can I pick up my stuff from where I died, or is that just going to sit there forever? No, fuck off, fuck off! Oh shit. Shit, shit. Oh, fuck you. Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! No, stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I have no more health left! Go away! Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Well, I'm screwed now. Oh, I got skill points available. Where's my skill points? By rights, this should be a harder attack. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I need to go tell the guard I've done 10. Hey guard. Yeah, I did. Thank you. How much coins have I got? No, I don't want to be in there either. I want a sword. I want to get a sword. I want to get a proper sword. I can't get a proper sword. Alright, I need to... Oh, I haven't got any destinations yet. Alright. Oh, I got stat points. Need a better fucking weapon. Alright, let's keep going. Okay. They just follow you with this great big tongue apart. Ooh! Fuck you! I was trying to do something. Okay, here's the goblin grunts. Oh, fuck balls. Oh, here comes another grunt. Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck off! Fuck off! Yeah, he was not happy. Problem is, you take him out slow and then more appear. Fuck you. I'm gonna run the dash. Ah! 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 Fuck me! Okay, fire grass. Wait, I saw that. This is a fairly fun game, I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, I got my stuff back. There's some fire grass. Fuck, 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 fuck. More of them! Ah! I'm not here. You didn't see me. Oh, piss off. Another one. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh shit again. Oh. Oh, okay. Piss off. Keep forgetting the button to press. If I go and collect my stuff from where I died, I can get more points back. Ooh. Ah, what? Son of a bitch. Hit the goblin while you're doing it. Good job. Oh god. Alright, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. I'm gonna die again. No! I want to get higher and see what's up higher. Fuck you! Oh shit balls, I did it again. Damn it. Okay. Oh, Grant's here. Hi, Grant. Oh fuck, I'm fucked. Oh, look at that. Shit. How the fuck am I gonna be able to beat the fucking Goblin King if I can't beat these people? These ones. Zoom! 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 Don't I? Ooh. Can I not stack them more than once? No. Alright, okay. Can I not use it? Oh. This. I can. Fuck off. As I fell, I lost my health. No, where's that altar? How do I use the altar, dude? do it. So we're going to go over here. I can make an iron dagger. Stabby, stabby. Oh, press F when the bar is filled. Excellent. Oh, good. Alright. Oh, shit. Excellent. Great. I need more leather for the sword. Okay, can I enhance anything? Maybe. What do you mean it failed? Woo! Can we enhance it again? I don't know if what I'm supposed to do in this one. Am I supposed to be doing something or? Nice. Okay. How much stuff have I got in my inventory now? Alright, let's see how we go now. I now have got see, I want a green skin like Liza. Let's see how this goes against the goblins. Ooh, what's that? What does that do? Ooh. Oh, great. Alright, let's go. I've got to dodge the daggers. Jesus fucking Christ. Ow. Shit. Nice. Woo, 3 times, that's not bad. Nice. Oh, hi, Grant. Feeling a little bit more confident now. I've got this great big carrot. Oh shit, that was close. Hey, not cool. The idea is multitasking, pressing the buttons at the same time as you fight. Whew! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, there's so many of them! Oh, I'm fucking dead. Oh no! Jump! No! There was a spot there that I could have gone to. Stop hitting my grave, you stupid dudes. God damn it. I like that you get to keep your inventory though. What the fuck is that? Okay. Oh, I got stat points available. I wonder if this card is what he was talking about. Oh, that's 30 minutes. Alright, let's go back to the thingy and save it. That was a fun game though, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that, that was fun. as to whether or not I would recommend it. Would I? Where did it go? Last. I've got 2 more to go. It's 10 o'clock. I want to have a look more at this. I've got more messages. Oh, okay. All right, let's go back to the message. I want to have a look at some of the other games that they had there. Where the fuck is it? I can't wait to play that game. I played that one. Gonna play that one. Got that one on my list. Got that one on my list. That's the one I was telling you about with Randel's Quest. That was the one that had the Wordle. Got that one on my list. Definitely got that one there. This one reminds me of my child 𝗕𝗨𝗦𝗦𝗦, which was a great game. I enjoyed that one. This looks really cool, but it's my horror one. This one I'd like to play with my friends. Very cute. This one I'm looking forward to playing. I've got that one downloaded. I looked at that one. What's this one look like?
This story begins in a vast first-person graphic adventure, blending the beauty of fantasy with the fascination of science fiction. A world teeming with creatures to catalogue.
Oh. Yeah, okay, I'll download it.
Endearing characters. And others not so much.
Okay. Critter. Blocking, maybe. I'm just kind of over the fighting style games. Just want to play something cool and fun. I saw that one. It came on my wish list as well. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, that looks interesting. Where do I, how do I, oh, here it is. Saw that one. I'm pretty sure that's on my list. Ooh, very cute. Oh, and I liked both those games. Look, I'm not even going to watch the video because I love both those games. I'm going to add it anyway. So many games. So I started with 50. I made it up to 60, down to 60 something. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Oh, I'm good. I'm on 54. I was looking at the wrong one. I was looking at the unplayed. Square shootout, no. Roguelike, no. What the fuck is that? Slow burn horror. I saw that one. That was pretty creepy looking. Nothing wrong with creepy ones, but not for me. What's this? Let's have a look at that. 𝗕𝗨𝗦𝗦𝗜, was it? 𝗕𝗨𝗦𝗦𝗜. Oh, wow. Very cute. Yep. Downloading. I think I'm going to have to change my cozy day. Because I'm just going to play cozy games for like ever. Do you know what though? I am going to add a lot of them to I'm going to do a lot of these gameplays and for my records, so that's okay. If it's not shown on here, I'm going to try and do some on some reviews, some of my more positive ones I enjoyed. So I might even, some of the ones that I've liked but not wish listed, I might do as well, just to kind of share it with those who might like it, so they can enjoy it. We'll see. We'll see how much time I've got, really. Realistically, though, anything that I've played is going to be there for ages anyway. Replaced. Is that what he was called? 𝗕𝗨𝗦𝗦? I'm sure it was 𝗕𝗨𝗦. Yeah, he is. And what's replaced? This is it here. looks good, but no. Ghoul fried. No, I don't do survival beat 'em ups. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wait, what? Okay, let's have a look at this one. What's this one? Ooh. Okay. So it's what do you call it? An RPG. To be honest with you, I don't think I've got many more in me tonight. I'm just gonna have a look through these and see what we've got. If there's anything worth playing. Box pass, lobby. I downloaded this one the other day. Oh, that's cute. Yes, please. Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. What's this one? Elsewhere is a size management. No, I'm not interested in that. No, I'm not wanting roguelike. Rage plumbing, no. Room battle. What the fuck? Chaotic vacuum battles. This I gotta look at.
This game is very easy. Back you cleaner. Weapon in front, follow behind. See?
Okay. Oh, did I download it? No. Cult of Shadows. Oh yeah, I saw that one. I think it's on my list. Is that? What was it called again? Cult of Shadows. I don't think I did. Okay, let's have a look.
I'm Miner 13. I work for Drill and Delve, a megacorp that would change the world, they said. Something revolutionary in the works. It should be 2344, or wait, 2345, I think? Anyway, that's about all I remember before the call.
So, was that uncover? Okay, all right.
A rock must have hit me as the mine caved in.
If he's going to be having some kind of story, for sure.
I don't even remember going down for this job.
Logic games. I do like logic games. Alright.
Alright, it's simple. Left pile goes up, 1 to 10. I'll start with a 2.
3.
4.
8.
Dave, what the fuck are you doing? It's fine. I've got a blue too. Same color resets it. Good save. Now, vice versa on the right pile.
Huh? Mermaid Mask. I've seen that one. All right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I already did that.
This place gives me the creeps. That cauldron especially. I keep staring into it like I'm going to see something, but it really does seem to be empty.
I'm guessing there was something pretty bad in there.
Okay, done. Mate, I'm trying to... I was trying to get through it all. And then it went on to another one. Here's what I was going to do. Fear of sleep. Yeah, no. No. Seen that one already. No. 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 What the fuck? So look at the survival chain. I'm not great on. Ooh. That one up. Death Pong? No. Not really. I'm pretty sure I've downloaded that one. Oh, have I already answered that one? I did. Adam Assault. I think we made the end of it. We got to the end of it. Fantastic. Nice. Okay. All right. Wait. Haven't I already downloaded that? Yeah, I did. What's this one? No. All right. So in the end, we've got 65. Look at these awesome games we've got here. How am I going to get through them all? All right, I'm going to play some tomorrow for funsies. I'm going to put these two. Oh, I'm a bit disappointed I didn't get through gig, whatever it is, Ebb. Esoteric Ebb. That looked good. But I've got like 6 at the bottom that are extras to play at another time. Tomorrow is Aussie Indies. So if you know of an Aussie indie that's not there, please, that I don't have, please let me know. We're looking at playing Memento. We're looking at playing Blades, Bow, and Magic. I'll probably share with you. I've got Ashes, but I haven't downloaded it. Although it is very short. I want to replay Schrodinger's Cat Burglar, and I've also got Doggy Don't Care, which is not on Steam Next Fest, but it's still a really good game that I wanted to share with everyone. So yeah, tomorrow is Australian games. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I appreciate you guys all being here. Let me have a quick look and see if there's someone I can read. Meanwhile, I'm going to do this. My nose is all running and I haven't got water. No, can I stop it here? All right, I've stopped my YouTube. Who have we got? Is there anybody doing Steam Next Fest? Let's look up. Oh, nice. Oh, okay, that's that person. Can we... Who are these guys here? They're pretty high people, though. What are they playing? This looks cute. And it's frozen. Damn it. My thingy's frozen on me. Alright. Yeah, I'm about to find somebody to raid, but I can't find anybody. Who is this? What is this game they're playing? This looks really cool. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.